Liquid blood and coagulated blood. I've got 3 recipes to show you today. What you're going to need is a blender, some icing sugar, corn flour, custard powder, cocoa powder, red food colourant, and green food colourant. So for basic blender blood, what you're going to need is about 3/4 cup of water and then 2.5 heaped cups of icing sugar. It's also called confectioner's sugar, I think, or powdered sugar, and it does go all over the place. I just threw it everywhere. Try not to do that. You're going to need some red food colourant. Now, red food colourant comes in all different makes and varieties, so whatever you've got, just try it out and see what colour you get. You may need to add more, you may need to use less, you may need to combine it with other colours, but you'll see once you turn your blender on. Now, don't panic if it comes out pink at first. That just means that you haven't quite added enough of the red food colourant. Now you can add some more, you can adjust your colours if you like. I'm going to add a little bit of green food colourant to mine as well, simply because real blood is not really red, it's kind of like a reddy brown sort of colour, so when you add a little bit of green it tends to help with getting a bit more of a natural colour. But don't worry if you don't have green, because the cocoa powder will kind of do that for you anyway to make a bit of a brown. So I've added a teaspoonful of cocoa powder. Start with a teaspoonful and you can always add more. If you add too much, you can't take it away. Play with this recipe until you're totally happy with the result. So there, you can almost instantly see that the colour is so much better, so much more realistic. Once you've played around with it, you can check it with a spoon. Put it on whatever you're going to be using the blood for. So if you're going to be using it on clothing, then check it on the kind of fabric that you're going to be using. And if you're going to be using it on skin, then check it on your skin, just to make sure that it's the colour that you want. Recipe 2 is coagulated blood. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take a little bit of your blender blood that you've just made, and you're going to add some corn flour. I think it's also called cornstarch. I didn't measure out exactly how much blood I used. I estimate it's probably about 2/3 cup maybe. And I used 2 heaped teaspoons of corn flour and a little bit of water. I like to always try and mix my corn flour with water before I use it, because it is insanely lumpy sometimes and you don't want to end up with lumps of corn flour. So if your blood mixture is already warmed up on the stove, then make sure that you're stirring as you add your corn flour. Otherwise, again, you're going to end up with lumps. If it's cold, doesn't matter, just pour it right in. And then you're just going to get stirring for a while. And don't worry, the colour will change. But as the corn flour cooks, now you can see, I skipped forward in time. As the corn flour cooks, it disappears again and you end up with this wonderful, thick, fresh blood look. Recipe 3, custard blood paste. This is a fantastic recipe and I can't wait to use the result. So what I did was I took some of the blender blood that I just made, I put it in a pot on the stove, and I mixed in some custard powder. So I did exactly the same thing that I did with the corn flour. I mixed 3 large, almost heaped teaspoons of custard powder with a little bit of water, and then I put that into my blender blood. Now, I also added about a teaspoonful of granulated coffee. It just gives a really good texture and a good colour to the end result. You obviously have to just keep stirring as it heats up on the stove. And what you end up with is like a custardy kind of consistency. It's going to thicken more as it cools. You can see that's the other blood, the coagulated blood that we made. And it is quite thick now, and it will get even thicker as it cools down. And there is the custard blood paste. It's brilliant. It's so good and so easy to work with, and it will keep for a few weeks in the fridge. And it's totally edible. Totally edible. Yeah, you can actually eat it. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Kay's Recipes for Disaster here on the Ruby Tuesday. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And if you did enjoy this, then why don't you check out some of our other videos, and I'll put some links up here. Thanks again for watching. Bye!